Hello, my name is Lauren Ludlow. I am a licensed therapist, a mindset and accountability coach, and a corporate consultant focused on empathy and emotional intelligence at work. And today I'm going to give you a breakdown of what somatic therapy is and what makes it different from other forms of therapy. So to start, the word somatic really means relating to the body or focused on the body. And in somatic therapy, we take a mind body approach to healing. Other forms of therapy really focus on thoughts and emotions and adjusting or making space for or changing patterns of thought and emotion or behavior in order to create well-being or an enhancement of well-being in the lives of clients. And those can be very powerful approaches. Changing the way that we think or being able to create space from challenging thoughts, changing the ways that we feel or being able to make space for challenging emotions, or even changing the way that we respond with our behaviors can help us to make significant changes in our life. One of the challenges with that approach to therapy is even when we have the awareness, even when we have the techniques, those changes can be really hard to get to. I want you to think of, for example, have you ever had a moment of feeling anxious and had all these anxious thoughts swirling around in your head, and you know that they're anxious thoughts, and you know that nothing is going as wrong as you might be thinking it is in that moment, but you can't change them. The anxious thoughts are still there. The worried thoughts are still there. They're all still having their impact, right? And maybe you want to make a change or you want to make more space for those feelings and thoughts, but there's almost like a bridge missing for how to get there. With somatic therapy, when we take that mind-body approach, we're really addressing the needs of our nervous system, the needs of our body, and the way that we physiologically respond to stressors, traumas, challenges, thoughts, and feelings, and using that work with the body and with the nervous system as the bridge to be able to get to that place of making space for challenging feelings and thoughts, changing patterns of behaviors, so on and so forth. Really, the most underlying principle of somatic therapy is the body takes the lead. And this isn't something made up. This is the way that we are neurologically and physiologically wired. We are wired so that when our heart is racing or our muscles are tense or our body is in a crisis sort of mode, our body is in fight mode, flight mode, or freeze mode, it is challenging for us to make any changes to our thoughts, feelings, or responses. In those moments when our nervous system is overwhelmed, it's almost unkind to put pressure on ourselves to think that we should be able to change the way that we're thinking, feeling, or responding. But if we first address the needs of the body, if we learn to first understand what goes on in my body when I am feeling distressed, or when there are challenges popping up, or when I am in that situation that sort of activates me. If we can learn to understand what goes on in my body then, and what does my nervous system need in those moments, then we can open up this whole new door for creating change or moving towards well-being. In addition to that, when we really work with our nervous system enough times, then our body can actually learn to respond to things differently over time. For example, maybe whenever I get a phone call from one of my siblings, I get really nervous because previous phone calls have always been chaotic and really challenging. And as soon as I see my sibling's name on the phone, my heart starts racing, my muscles get tense, and then my thoughts start racing, and then I'm anxious and I'm not responding the way I want to respond. If over time we can learn to understand and identify, ooh, I recognize that tension. I recognize that heart racing. I recognize those signs in my body. And we can use our somatic therapy practices to really create a sense of safety, to be able to find some calm in the body, to be able to tap into the nervous system's natural ability to calm itself. Then over time, we can almost reprogram our nervous system so that one day, I get that text or I get that call from my sibling, and instead of my nervous system getting really activated, whew, the activation isn't there as much. I might sense a little something going on in the body, but it's not as strong or as powerful. And somatic therapy helps us to create these changes through a number of ways. Number one, giving us an understanding of the nervous system and helping us to learn the signals of our nervous system. What do certain feelings and certain experiences feel like in our body? Where do we sense them? How do we sense them? So creating that understanding is very powerful within somatic therapy. Two, different forms of somatic therapy use different techniques for being able to help do that nervous system reprogramming. For example, one of the forms of somatic therapy that I practice is called the trauma resiliency model. And within that model, one of the things we do is called resourcing, where we really take time to connect with something, a person, a place, an experience, a moment that gives you a sense of well-being. And as we connect with that moment, I support clients in really getting in touch with, okay, what do you notice going on in the nervous system and in the body as you get in touch with that? So that clients can learn their sensations of well-being too, and can learn to connect with those sensations of well-being just by thinking of something that helps them to create a sense of calm or peace or joy or well-being as a whole. Some other techniques we use within that form of somatic therapy is focusing on places in the body where there is a sense of neutrality or maybe something pleasant as we're discussing things that are hard or triggering, so that the body is able to kind of catch up with the fact that there's some safety there, right? In another form of more somatic therapy that I do called EMDR, some of the ways that we help the body to create a sense of enough calm and safety to touch on hard material or hard things to talk about is by using eye movements back and forth, and resourcing practices like creating a calm state that we can go back to, where we can sense what goes on in the body when we connect with that calm state. So basically, lots of different forms of somatic therapy use lots of different techniques for helping us to understand the nervous system, really work through sensations and experiences of distress that pop up in the nervous system, and to help the nervous system to get used to connecting with and detecting sensations of well-being too. So overall, that is a little bit about how somatic therapy works. And in my next video, I'll be discussing a little bit more about why somatic therapy, what makes it important, what makes it powerful, and some of the neurology behind it.